In a move that a lot of Chicago Bulls fans this felt was coming, with Matas Buzelis only averaging less than 6 minutes and falling out of the rotation in the Bulls' last game, we got to talk about an update to Matas Buzelis that I know is going to trigger a lot of Bulls fans, especially when you consider the performance of some of the other Chicago Bulls. We're going to get into all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. My name is Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that being said, let's go ahead and get into it, man. And so, something that it felt like it could be coming, I think I was in denial, maybe some other Bulls fans, but Matas Buzelis has now been officially assigned to the Windy City Bulls, the Chicago Bulls G League affiliate. And this is after Matas Buzelis got into the Bulls' first 5 games out of 6 in the season. He averaged 5.6 minutes per game. He shot the ball 18% from the field, 0% from three-point range. And so Billy Donovan had recently talked about Matas Buzelis and saying that what Buzelis would have to bring as far as aggression level and things like that to be able to crack the rotation was really kind of the first signs of something maybe going a little bit left to what Bulls fans had wanted and expected. This is a kid that has all the mentality side that you need in the game of basketball, but the fact is he's going to need minutes to refine his skill. And so maybe the Bulls feel like that's best at the G League, despite him playing in the G League last year for the Ignite. And this is going to be make the G League, the Windy City Bulls, even more interesting as the Windy City Bulls season is starting here around the corner. Let me pull up that schedule. But the Windy City Bulls and the G League as a whole is starting their season here in a couple of days. So it's not too surprising. The Windy City Bulls play their first game on Friday, November 8th against the Grand Rapids Gold. So, we'll get first 2 games over the weekend. I'll drop a video after that game on Sunday recapping those first 2 games. But this is going to give Matas Buzelis an opportunity to get a lot of minutes to refine this game. The minutes, the reps, right? That's really what this is. And Matas Buzelis, I would not be surprised, much like with Julian Phillips last year, shows himself to be ahead of that level of competition. But the kid does need reps. And while many Bulls fans would prefer those reps to come in the NBA games, he's going to need those reps. And this is just what the Bulls are deciding to do with their 11th overall pick in Matas Buzelis. And, let's hope that overall he really shows out down there and he can get back to the NBA level sooner rather than later. But hey, it is what it is when it comes down to it, man. Chris says, why? It is what it is. You messed up. Did I mess up his name? It was probably autocorrect that got me. Autocorrect probably, because I know how to spell Matas Buzelis. I've been saying it for a while. Yeah. They autocorrect got me on that. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna fix that. I don't know why they always try to correct Matas to Myers. He's not a Mayan. We don't need that. But there you go on that one. But yeah, man, it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. Billy has to go. Listen, here's the thing. I'm going to tell y'all right now, and I know this is not what a lot of people are going to want to hear. Matas Buzelis, his defense would have absolutely killed the Bulls. The things that Matas Buzelis is weak at right now, for how this Bulls team is playing, it could have killed his confidence. Now, I still personally think he should have gotten an opportunity there, but it's not as simple as just giving somebody minutes. So if he balls out, he'll get more playing time. That's a fact. If he balls out, he'll get more playing time. And I do think Matas Buzelis, expect him to play maybe 8 to 10 games in the G League before the Bulls are like, all right, it is what it is. It is what it is. Bulls are ass. No, the Bulls aren't ass. That's just not correct. The Bulls are not ass. Not by any stretch of the imagination. They're not ass. So no, the Bulls are not ass. I think it will help Patrick Williams if he was in the G League. No, it wouldn't. And they can't assign him to the G League. He's been in the NBA too long. But no, it would not help. Going to the G League is not going to help Patrick Williams at all. He's had the masterclass of all people that should be able to help him. Going to the G League isn't going to help him. I'm not surprised that Buzelis is going to the G League. He needs the reps. It's only his rookie season. Give him the reps in the G League. Let him progress. And I understand where you're coming from with that. Definitely understand where you're coming from with that one. I almost disliked the video because I was upset at this. We should trade Patrick Williams if we get a good offer because we have so much young depth here that needs playing time to develop. But Patrick Williams isn't just ahead of those guys that's going to trade him. He's ahead of those guys because he's better than them. That just is what it is. Yes, he's bad offensively, but when you look at everybody else, they're not shooting the ball much better. right? And they aren't doing as good as defensive job as what he's doing. They're just not. So I get it. There's a bad taste in everybody's mouth because of Patrick Williams just not excelling at the rate that they hoped. But let's still be able to look at things objectively. Patrick Williams is better defensively than what Matas Buzelis is probably going to be his first 3 years in the league, right? And keep in mind that he's still the fifth option on offense, so it's not as simple as that. I feel like I'm the only person in the comment section that is okay with this move. Let him develop there for the time being. It is what it is. I don't like this move. This is not a proper. We're not rebuilding, JDH. Some Bulls fans are still in denial. This team is not rebuilding. They are not tanking. Well, they're retooling. They're not tanking. That's not what they're doing. This team is still trying to win basketball games, and because of that, they're not going to play a rookie heavily that is as bad defensively as Matas Buzelis. It just is what it is. And I think people just really got to come to that realization that this is where it is. That this is just where it is. It's not where the Bulls fans want the Bulls to be, but this is where the front office is. I'm not saying if it's right or wrong, but you got to come to the realization that this is just not what it is. It could be for a minute, not really a big deal. It could be, right? Because Julian Phillips ended up only playing 5-6 games in the G League before they realized it, right? P. Will is still 30% from three on the year. After a bad game, he'll raise his three. Listen, I mean, it is what it is with Patrick Williams. Like, it is what it is. Never meant to be a rebuild. We have young prospects who already have reps. There's no bottoming out and hoping that the rooks rise above a mediocre mindset and team. It is what it is. Matas is not better than Patrick Williams yet. That's just because you haven't seen much of Matas Buzelis. Even if you go and watch every G League game that Matas Buzelis played, he's not better than Patrick Williams yet. Now, is his potential higher than Patrick Williams? Absolutely. But if you're talking about right now on the basketball court in NBA games against the best players in the world, Matas Buzelis is not better than Patrick Williams yet. Not offensively and definitely not defensively. He has way higher potential than Patrick Williams because Patrick Williams has been in the league, 5 years, but he's not better than Patrick Williams yet. Yet. That's the key thing here. Yet. He's not better yet than Patrick Williams. He's going to ride on the bench. He needs to keep playing to hone his skills. He ain't getting minutes now with this lineup. G League keeps him moving, developing. He needs to play G League perfect. See, there you go. There you go. We ain't winning shit this way ever, Haize. And guess what? We're not going to win either by tanking and just getting bad picks. So, it is what it is. It's just, there's no clear path there. You can't say anything guarantees that. The Bulls can bottom out right now, and it doesn't guarantee that they're going to win. This year, we see Julian getting more reps this year versus the top wings. Facts. That's a big fact there. Big fact. Patrick can stand between the rim and Giannis. Matas would lay underneath Giannis' shoes when he balls over his frail ass. And that's another thing, right? Like, Matas Buzelis is going to put on weight. And that's why I say, like, do not let this make you think that Matas Buzelis' potential is still exactly where it is, right? It is what it is when it comes down to it. And I would much rather Matas Buzelis gets minutes regardless of where that is. Whether it's NBA or G League, I would rather him get minutes to work on the reps, get the things that he needs, because he still needs to work on that shot. He needs to work on the mechanics of the shot, and only so much is going to be done in that in shoot-around. He has to make that new shot that him and Peter Patton are working on. They got to get that to being legit for him. And reps are going to be the thing that do that. Patrick Williams is going to go to another team and then have an epiphany and lead the team to the finals. I swear this is a Bulls curse. If Patrick Williams is leading a team to the finals, that's crazy. That's crazy. Trade Vooch. Vooch has literally been the most consistent and best Bull this season. Some of y'all just don't update y'all thinking. Y'all just keep the same thing regardless of like what the facts are telling y'all. Who's going to take 5.7 minutes per game? That's a spot. I mean, he still takes up a roster spot. So sending him to the G League does not change his roster spot. So we don't open up a roster spot by sending him to the G League. So those 5.7 minutes, I'd much rather those go to Dalen Terry or go to Julian Phillips, right? I'd rather it be that. I agree Pat is miles ahead of other forwards, but he's had 4 seasons to see where his ceiling is. I like taking the chance of developing Dalen, GP, where you're still developing all 3 of those guys. But again, for a team that's trying, like, if I could see what you're saying, Jared, if this team was tanking, they're not. So they're going to play players that are the best right now. That's just where they are. He was in the G League last year. He played for the G League Ignite last year. So yeah, but that's a very different program, right? The G League Ignite, that's why they did away with the G League Ignite, because it really wasn't helping players the way they thought it would. Him going to the G League this year is going to be completely different, because they're going to have a development plan for him, and the whole point of it is to get him reps. He's going to get reps. I would not be surprised if Matas Buzelis averages between 12 and 15 shots per game while he's in the G League, because they're going to be really invested in getting him those reps that he needs. Io, Dalen P. Will, Julian Smith is the best defensive lineup. Um, I think you're right. I think that has been the Bulls' best defensive lineup. So when Modest turned into Brandon Miller, LOL chat tweaking. That's hilarious. That's funny. But that's little defense, that lineup I mentioned. That's so little offense, the lineup I mentioned. Yeah, but they have a great point of that lineup that you mentioned. Oh, I'm going to bring it up. That's actually, I think, one of our highest point differential lineups. And that, of course, could be just because of how good and sound they are defensively. But that's one of the Bulls' best lineups that you did mention. Hold on, let me pull it up. Lineups. So the lineup of, let me make sure I have the right one that you mentioned. Io, Dalen, P. Will, Julian. So that lineup that you mentioned has a positive point differential of 6.4, 64.4. Only 9 possessions that they've played together, so not a huge sample size, and they have a a, a, a points per 100 possessions of 144.4. They've actually done a pretty damn good job, that lineup. That's a really good lineup there. Really good lineup. This isn't a demotion. Haize is right. He needs to develop his defense, aka put some weight on. He's a bone rack who will get bullied by other 6'9" power forwards and outquicked by NBA small forwards. You're completely correct on that one. Completely correct. Speaking of Patrick Williams, I accepted this is who he's going to be. I do think someone will eventually take his spot, though, with his lack of mental aggression, and eventually comes off the bench. And that you could very well be right on that one. I like Horton as a bench player as well. I think he needs more minutes. What do you think about him, Haize? I've talked let's be clear here, right? THT, and I get it that he had a hot preseason. And while I'm not saying that he's not a player that can get you some good minutes at times, I'm not at the point where THT needs to be a heavy part of the bench rotation. This is a guy that for his NBA career, let's just go over for his career, and it's not like he hasn't had a lot of minutes. He's played 251 games. He started 55 of those games. He averages 21 minutes per game and shoots the ball 42% from the field and 29% from three-point range. That's not great. It's not great. It's not great. So that is what it is when it comes down there. We should keep Marcus Domas. Well, he is on the team, the G League team, so he is there. Why didn't Matas play NCAA? He did. He went to the G. He went to the G League. That was a decision that he made. I don't know. I'm sure he was recruited. I don't know like that information off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are colleges that recruited Matas. Moving Matas a few games to the G League could mean we see TH. It could, right? I mean, it's only open in 5.7 minutes per game, so it could. But those minutes could be it could. This could also be, instead of giving Julian, who's averaged 14 minutes, this could get Julian Phillips 19 minutes per game, right? So we'll see what it turns into. We'll see what it turns into. Has the potential to go a lot of different ways, that's for sure. Hit the like button. We appreciate you, Bulls Daily. You already know, Brody. Interesting. I test these lineups in spurts of a few minutes at times. Yeah, I mean, that's the point of coaching, right? You want to try different lineups and different combinations and see what you get. So his name is Taylor Horton Chucker because this dude is a black hole, figuratively, fellas. Like, yeah, I mean, and I think like people who haven't really watched THT over his career let that preseason inflate what they think of THT. Like, he is who he's going to be. And I mean, let me be clear. He's still, 23 years old, but like, THT is not, he's not one of those players that's like just a player that is like Jalen Smith, for example, is a player that just hasn't gotten a lot of playing time over his NBA career. He's played a lot of games, but he's averaged like 14, 15 minutes per game. So like you can look at that and say, there's something there to get more minutes. THT has averaged 20 minutes per game for his career. He kind of is who he is, right? They're trying to put butt in seats at the Windy City games. Also, another angle to the modest move. No, they're not. Listen, I don't know if you guys like Windy City, like G League games are you could basically walk in for free. This isn't about selling tickets for G League games. That is such a small part of teams' revenues, and they don't try to sell out big gyms, like basically in high school gyms. I guarantee you, it's not. They're not worried about really selling out G League. They're just not worried about that. But all right, y'all. Want to thank you guys for tuning in. Just wanted to bring this quick update. 216 of y'all for a breaking news episode. Listen, I know a lot of people are invested in Matas Buzelis, and ultimately, I just want it to work out for Matas. Whatever that means, like Matas has the type of mindset and the mentality, he's going to attack it. And I do think that now that Matas is going to be getting minutes, he's going to get minutes, he's going to get shots. This is going to be an opportunity for him to turn a lot of heads and also refine his game. And so I think that, it sucks, right? You want your 11th overall pick to play for you. But, at the end of the day, like the Bulls made a decision to try to get this guy some reps, and he deserves the reps. And let's hope that he makes the most out of it. With Modest's mindset, I feel pretty safe that he's going to make the most out of this. And we're going to be talking about what it is, man. But I love you guys. Go Bulls. See Red, y'all. Make sure you guys are following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You guys can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullsCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See Red if you can, y'all.